we're about to tackle a 45-degree haircut. You've already taken the 0-degree haircut. You did it beautifully. But now it's time for the 45. So the 45 is right in between 0 and 90 degrees. It's right in between 0 and 90 degrees. 0 is when you drop it down at natural fall. 90 is when you hold it straight out from the curve of the head. And in between there is 45 degrees. And that's what we're about to do right now. There is a thing that's called precision cutting and condensed cutting. We're going to do condensed and precision. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to, and let's talk about this sectioning, right? You remember the universal T parts. So the universal T parts is when you have 4 sections. You're going to add on another section at the nape. So you're going to take out the nape area and then do your traditional 4 section. What I'm about to do now is I am going to drop it down at 0 degrees. I'm taking the entire nape section. If somebody has a large nape, then you will need to split it. But her nape is pretty small, so we're going to just use this. 0 degrees, 90, 45. I'm going to hold it out at 45 degrees, like so, and cut. Do not cut past your second knuckle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check it precision. Even though I cut it condensed, I'm going to check it precision, and I'm going to part it vertically. And I'm going to hold it out at 45 degrees and look at my angle. Pretty nice. All right, there's a couple of ways that I cut this, right? So when I held it at 45 degrees, I had my wrist turned down. When I was over here, I had my wrist turned up. Now the traditional and theoretical way to do it is having your wrist up, like so. It's more ergonomically correct. Now what I am doing is I am just double checking everything and cleaning it up. What I'm doing is I am cutting off corners. What are corners? Corners are when you're cutting and you see a nice clean line, and then you see something hanging over that nice clean line, that is considered a corner. So anytime you're checking your cut and you see a corner, you cut it off. There's another thing called dents. That's when everything looks great, but there's a little dent in there. If you have a dent in there, that means that's a oopsie. That means leave it alone. Otherwise, you're going to mess up your cut. If you leave it alone, it'll look like texture. I'm taking vertical sections and I am cleaning up the cut by getting some of those corners. All right, as you can see, we have a nice little 45 going on there. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the head. And now I'm going to go back to precision. Okay. We section for control, so I can have a little bit more control. I'm going to split this section. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the occipital area with the nape area. Vertical sections. Hold it out at 45 degrees. As you can see, my guide is right here. And then I'm going to cut to it. Taking vertical sections, anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch, depending upon the density. Hold it out at 45 degrees and cut all the way down to that nape area. Again, what that's doing is it's connecting everything. All right, so what we did again, just as a recap, we did a condensed nape, then we went up and we connected the occipital area with the nape area. We started out with condensed cutting, then we went in the occipital area, did subsections and verticals, held it out at 45 degrees, and connected. When I hold it out, as you can see, it is connected. All right, so now we're going to stop layering, and this is called graduation 45. We're going to stop layering, and now we're going to turn it into a little bit of heaviness, and we're going to move forward just as such. So right now you're going to do a traditional horizontal parting and comb it down. Once you do a traditional horizontal parting, now you're going to connect it, but differently. You're not going to connect it on a graduation. You're going to connect it at a night. Well, you actually are going to hold it out at 45 degrees, just not graduating, going up to the apex area. You're going to hold it out. You look underneath for your last line, which is your design line or your guide line, and you cut. And so what that does is it stops the graduation and starts taking it a little heavy, so it creates that 45-degree bob, so to speak. You're going to do this all the way up the crown. You're going to take your subsections and go all the way up to your last sections in the back. All right, so we finished going up the occipital through the crown to the apex. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the sides. Now this is going to be pretty simple. As you can see here, we have a nice line. You see this line there? Look at that. That line is called a diagonal forward. That's when it goes from short to long. So now we're going to continue in that fashion. And I'm going to go ahead and do a diagonal forward parting. And I'm going to comb it down. Now, you have a choice. If you do not want it to look longer in the front, just do a regular vertical parting, and you just cut the line straight horizontal, and it will stay nice and, I would say, even instead of going from short to long, right? Short to long in the front. The back will always go from short to long. So we're going to go from short to long. We're going to give it a little edge. So diagonal forward makes it easy when you make that parting, because all you got to do is hold your fingers parallel to the part with a little bit of the design line, also known as your guideline, in the back. And I'm going to connect it. Look, there goes my line right there. I'm going to connect it. I'm going to connect it at 0 degrees. You have an option though. If you want to have layers in this line, then you hold it out at 45 degrees and cut. And then you'll have little layers going down the face. But if you want it nice and smooth, hey, let's do 0 degrees. And you cut. Everybody see it? All right, so you're gonna do this going all the way up the side to the top, and then you're gonna do it on the opposite side. All right, so as you can see, I did the right side. Now I'm gonna come over here and I am gonna connect. Sometimes you could connect prior to. I'm gonna connect it and balance it. So what you wanna do is, you wanna look at the same section as your other side, and you want to make sure you balance it out. Make sure that it's even when you cut it, otherwise you'll keep cutting and cutting and cutting. So I feel it, and you're looking in the mirror when you're doing this too. Okay, you can also come to the front just like so, like that, and cut, and that'll let you know, hey, I'm gonna hit it where it needs to go. All right, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm taking the back area and I'm going to connect it with the sides. And did you catch it? I have a type of parting is that horizontal. I need a diagonal forward. All right, looks like it's going to catch nicely. I'm going to go all the way up the head like I did the other side, and then we're going to check it and balance it. So what we did, we took this long-haired mannequin and took her to a 45-degree graduated cut. All right, so let's do a quick recap. What I did in the back is we cut out the nape, or parted out the nape area, held it out at 45 degrees, condensed, and cut it. We cut it horizontal. Once we finished that, we piecemealed it, which is called precision, and checked it. Then we went up the occipital area and connected it at a vertical. At the 45 degrees. When we got here, we dropped it down at the horizontal 0 and created a heavy top, diagonal forward, so that it goes from short to long. Continue that all the way up, and we have finished that 45-degree haircut. Some of you might be thinking, hey, I don't want a tail. All right. Well, if you don't want a tail, all you have to do is make your guideline a lot shorter, or you could tilt the head forward like so, and you could cut a nice line in here. And if you don't want a heavy line, just use your razor at 45 degrees. All right, everybody, see you next time.